Sorry about that. We had allergies, so we're muted because allergies. All right, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of Stage 3, Lap It Up Seaside Sprint. We're out for 3 laps. It's going to be a quick one, 22K. It is from the piers of Watopia to the Essies, on over toward the volcano. After the Italian Village, you go down the dirt little sidewinder along the, I don't know if that's a river or an ocean. I think it's an ocean. And then, yeah, it is an ocean. Right-hand turn into the volcano, and then right back into the Essies. Fast and Furious. I've raced this a few times. Know it a little bit, mainly from a KISS 100, where I think we did it like 15 times or something like that. It was a good race. Dave, looks like you're on the road before we get down into the racing here as the A's are out on course. That's where are you up to?
Yeah, I'm right by Crater Lake here in Oregon right now, Medford. So making my way up the coast, head home after an unbelievable bondo this weekend. It was one of the best races I've ever seen in my life. And during the race today here, I'll tell you, I'll give you a tip. And Manolo is now season. The guy is everything you'd hoped he'd be and more. What? So, Nathan, it's awesome to see racing underway. Strong looking group. 3 laps out here for Seaside Sprint, about 22K. 174 meters of climbing along the way. So it's not a completely flat route today. It's not a Tempest Fugit situation. But you got a little more to work with. But this group will be robust, no doubt about it. You can see they're already pressing the accelerator down on the floorboard as we enter the aforementioned Italian Village here.
Yeah, as they do head on to the Italian Village, it is going to be a right-hand turn here momentarily. McCarthy on the front. I did see a D. Nichols with a verified badge and Dimension Data Kit. No Pro Kit. I wonder if that's an X-Pro that I'm unfamiliar with, though. Perhaps with that little badge, we'll have to get a little bit of insight on who that rider is. Was up toward the front just a moment ago, but they are pressing the pace pretty good right from the get-go. This is a section, of course, you could cause some mayhem with, as you can see riders there falling off the back a little bit, mainly because of the changes on the dirt. Now, they're not as strong as they used to be. Used to be a lot stronger as far as the slowing down of the avatars from the dirt, but because of those changes, not quite as much of an ability to try and get away. As they do make their way through this oceanside section, they'll be taking a right-hand turn in just a moment, up a little two-tier into the volcano here, and then they'll be making a right-hand turn off, as you can see, through, actually off in the distance there by that Zwift blimp there. That's actually the next section they'll take on back toward the Essies. Just for 3 laps, Dave. Going to be fast and furious, as we can see here. All together, there's a couple of sections on the course that I think the riders are mainly going to be looking forward to. This section, of course, here with this little 2-tier bump that they're about to take on. Then after that, it's going to be the Essies, and then 3 sections, really. The 2 sections that are most obvious are going to be this 2-tier, the Essies, but then the downhills, we saw just a moment ago the attacks going into the Italian Village because of the massive amount of speed and roll through that riders can use through that section. I think that's going to be on a lot of the riders' minds. As you can see, feather power-ups being used here as they do hit this 2-tier 3% uphill gradient. We'll see what the attacks do here in the A category. We'll be jumping across to the Bs, the C's, and the D's momentarily here, but it is going to be, that's got to be Wahoo Lacole on the front with Pod's line, I would assume, as the familiar ZRacing rider is looking to make some moves, but it looks like somebody else is taking over toward the front. There's that D. Nichols badge. I really want to know who that is.
Yeah, we're going to have to track down. That badge is really accurate, to tell you the truth. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where I was like, hey, that's not deserved. So we'll figure that one out along the way out here today. This is so part of a GC battle. These guys always benefit by keeping the speeds high out here. And Nathan, I really feel like there's some kind of complicit agreement against collusion, even to keep, in a good sense, of everybody's agreeing we're just going to keep rolling over the top out here today.
Flores now, as you can see, as they come up over the top of that 2 tier, the draft power-ups now being used up into 450 watts or so. KK from the Dragons there. It's going to be RAK as well. The German rider, Wap Fabric here, Trovato. 4 riders now trying to press the pace over the top. And a lot of times, Dave, it is the press over the top that is the most crucial. A lot of riders, they can hang on just until the peak there. Then there's the reprieve, but then the speed for the getaway train, that's what it's about. Otherwise, you just hold on with that caboose and it's all together. Again, the SC's the next section. We're looking forward to that translucent tunnel by the Zwift blimp in just a moment.
All right, well, a little bit right now of a regrouping, but you can see other riders move up to the front here now as they, look at this interesting scenario here. The guys who are kind of getting tailed off the back as they go down just a little bit on the front. More riders now re-entering this group. So we'll see if it builds up some momentum now, because I'm starting to think, Nathan, maybe a lot of guys looking at the sprint at the end of this race and wanting to test themselves there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they do. I think it's been really fast from the get-go. And, we saw a couple of cracks in the armor, though, for a moment. I have a feeling some riders are thinking that there could be a breakaway situation, mainly because of the way that the group was unable to respond that quickly a couple of different times. You can make this, it's kind of like a crit situation here with this course where, there's just these momentary lapses that can cause almost unclosable gaps because of the kind of speeds that you can hold all the way through if you do get the right riders involved. We do see D. Miguel Luca here. De Luca now on the front, the Spaniard rider. AMM right there with him, fellow countryman. It's going to be Jean Worm. Now EP, now 7.6 watts per kilogram with that feather power-up, making his way to the front, showing off his level 100 kit in game. 7.6 now, okay, with also Kirkfield here, as we can see McCarthy holding tight, but it's a long line of avatars here, and that tells me they didn't make the jump quite correctly to get the gap they needed.
I mean, Nathan, we're talking about some of the danger men, though, without any doubt. Just that list of names that you reeled off there, these are the type of guys that are either winning this race or certainly impacting the ultimate outcome. So really clear that the cream is rising to the top, and there you go. I mean, another big hit out. Lawrence Lau has been phenomenal today, and they're coming over the top of him.
Yeah, and it looks like the rider, is that going to be Bauer? No, and just a good Laux, you're right. It is Laux, 4.8 watts per kilogram right to the front. And it looks like AMM now taking over to the front now as well in that Zwifters kit, the baseball throwback. Absolutely love that one. Hunt now also to the front, HCT now taking over. This little bump now, this is going to be the section we're going to see in just a moment here. That's the other more obvious section. It's going to be a downhill roll-in. Now, to lead into this is kind of dangerous for the rider who's on the front, because the reality is there's a ton of speed that comes through the pack from here, and you can absolutely pounce, jump, springboard over this 5, 6, 7% green. You can see those feather power-ups, and now it's going to be really about the speed and roll through over the top of here. There's also, though, a second narrative in the back of some of the really experienced riders' heads. Those that are sitting back and maybe, now the interesting thing, there wasn't an attack there. Now, Flores here, this is maybe getting the speed up, but we got to see something up into the 50s at this moment for it to be anything actually serious. Now, there we go, 60 kilometers per hour. The roll through is going to be the important part as they hit this bridge. And then if we do see an attack countering through here, sometimes speed, Dave, that is free on course is just as important as an uphill, perhaps an uphill gradient. You can use it to the same kind of advantage. And you see RAK doing exactly that.
Zwiftcraft is the name of the game. No doubt that we're going to, when you look at on the spectrum of the days, sometimes brute force can win. Other days it's craftiness. It's always going to be some combination of those two. But today, Nathan, definitely these riders who really know the game here are the ones that are sitting back. I respect what Lau has been doing. There's no doubt that trying to spice things up and getting a group to go with you. You've seen Kirkfield up there as well. John Verm has been there. But Nathan, in all honesty, the heavy hitters, I think, realize it's almost impossible to crack this group. And I mean, let me ask you this. I mean, when you have an area like the Essies where it's such an awesome place to attack, but by the time you get to this level, everybody's cracked that code.
Yeah, it's really true. It really is that at this level, most of these riders are going to be really on top of that and know exactly how to take on any section of the course. Now, as you can see, all back together, nobody. It's going to be a tough one. I think you're right here, Dave. They're going to be thinking a lot about that final sprint. Maybe just making the race hard enough that the legs are a little bit, softer, perhaps, maybe is the main goal here.
Well, and I think that suits two purposes, Nathan, because you're going to look at for the guys here, maybe a third of them are really looking at that GC time from the day. Just to quickly explain that every single lap it up stage through the month, you can race all week and take your best time. And then you stack that up to make your GC time, your classification time, and just like the Tour de France or golf, the lowest time or score wins. So you can, some of these guys will be on the same time because they've been doing the same races, but this has typically been one of the faster events that we see in each week with Lap It Up. And they're kind of serving both masters, right? It looks like it's going to be a sprint, but it hasn't been an easy day. Big part of it too, 22K of racing out here. These guys are out here to keep fitness going, to even, like right now, most of these folks are probably racing outside as well here. So this is definitely putting a fine point on things for guys. And we can definitely look now at the group that's getting tactical, Nathan. But somebody will attack in the next 15 seconds is my guess.
Yeah, well, with the right-hand turn heading into the 2-tier, 15 seconds is right about on cue, Dave. Nice call there.
There it is.
ZWB here now from the Netherlands. Martins now making his way to the front. It's going to be Croft. Pods lines there as well. This is going to be the second time up this 2-tier. We'll see if anybody's able to soften the group up at all. Pods line now 8.4 to the front. That's good orange numbers you can see here. How committed is he going to get to this move? Heibel also here from KST. WLC, though, again, love it from Michael Pods line. Dragons, though, easily sitting on the wheel. 161 beats per minute here from Podsy, so not too dangerous for him at this moment. Now it's getting up into the 165s. You're still in the 7. This is a serious move. He hit 9 watts per kilogram at one moment. Now continuing on into 7. He is not letting up. He wants this to snap here, and it looks like he may be getting exactly what he wants. McCarthy, though, sees that this is dangerous here. The Velocio rider you can see in the back, about 4 wheels back, looking to come across. There goes O'Brien, 9.3 as well. They know where the section is to really press the pace over the top, and that is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's going to be the whole pack coming through. Can they hang on? It looks like it's going to be enough. Now the question is, will anybody take this next little bump, roller coaster down, and try and escape from some really, really high heart rates with a massive amount of lactate in the legs at this point? The sting is going to be there. Podsy saying, come on, lads. Now, right here is the moment you can press a little bit, and it is going to be McCarthy, I think, that may do that, because I see some yellow neon on the front getting the gap here, Dave.
Well, Nathan, this race sprung out like a koala bear right now. I mean, they definitely are going to be just trying to hold the draft. This is Charty moving into race mode. He's been out skiing with his family and just put a huge commitment into getting his daughters out on the snow. And now it's Dad's turn to let it rip, and he's going to make this one into a burner here with 3 laps of racing. This is going to be moving into, I think we're right on the beginning of the end now, Nathan, is the Velocio rider. Does he have any teammates back there today? I'm looking for that well-established legacy Velocio team. Seen them racing in the ZRL for years. I wonder if he's not doing he might be alone, though. Typically, I think we've seen just for himself out here representing the Velocio squad. But I think really, to tell you the truth, Nathan, as is the usual, the sweet spot today has always been sitting into 20 riders back. You get maximum draft. You've got riders around you that you know are strong, that can help close down these gaps. And that really that's not Zwiftcraft. That's bike racing 101.
Now we do see another rider making the move again. I think that's again going to be the rider out of the Netherlands. It is going to be Martins now, 413 watts, 5.5 more consistent of an effort here, as you can see, up in a 178. We saw the Velocio rider, McCarthy, for a moment off the front there, up into 185 beats per minute. I really think that was a pretty serious matchbook there, burnt there for a moment. Or at least I'd say the whole matchbook almost there for a moment, as I think that was a fairly all-in move, knowing, and it was a smart one. You saw he was there for quite a while, and if anything was going to stick, it was that kind of a move, but the pack just a little bit too motivated. Now AMM here back over the top, and as we're going to head into one to go, we're going to start seeing some attacks here later in the race. I think this is going to continue on. I don't think that this is going to be a sit and wait around kind of race, because of the little bumps and undulations. It's just enough landscape to work with as far as the changes in elevation that the riders are willing to take some risks out here, because this Seaside Sprint, it really gives a lot of opportunity in my estimation, that the riders feel comfortable with making some kind of moves. Now, I am going to jump across here real quickly. I do want to highlight, we've got some YouTube sensation here in with the B category. Don't Get Dropped Cycling showing up on the day. Good to see our man Eric Lee here at
Nice.
hanging. Now, is he hanging out a little ways back, playing it smart, it looks like, to not get dropped? If you haven't checked out Don't Get Dropped Cycling over on YouTube, does almost daily content of his own racing. Good to have him here with us. We'll see how he goes in the sprint out here today, if it's going to all stick together. Back in 64th place right now for DGDC. As I love it that he's got the big head avatar as well there. It's pretty cool bobblehead.
Solid part of our community, no doubt about it. Good catch today, Nathan. By the way, just quickly, I want to give Peter a shout out. Tepalorio's not racing today, I don't believe. Haven't seen him. I'll keep looking. But he made the call in chat, Nathan, who's going to pull the Leroy today? Well, he said we all missed the Leroy, and I'm hoping that someone actually deploys the Leroy out here. I don't know who the most likely rider would be, to tell you the truth, in this group. Teppo's pretty unique in his ability to go full Leroy mode at any moment. Not many guys are willing to risk it like that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, across the 4 categories that we've got right now, in the A category, who is going to give it a go? I mean, Kirkfield tends to sit and wait. I'm looking through some of this. O'Brien has been one rider I would definitely be watching out for to try and make that move. And as far as a Leroy move, I mean, we've seen plenty of, like, if we're going to call it a full-on Leroy Jenkins move, it's got to be like it's 2 kilometers to go. It's not even like a classic 1 kilometer, because like 1 kilometer move is kind of like, okay, that could work, right, or something. But a Leroy move is like sense. You walk into a giant cave of dragons with all of their eggs, and you just bust them open and they kill the whole squad, right? So like, what kind of a move is actually a Leroy move? And that would be essentially like, right now, you just attack on the downhill with like 4, I don't know, or somewhere in like last 2K, just
I was gonna
pull
say,
in or something. I don't even know. It's like, what would be the Leroy move? Chat, let us know where on, this needs to be a section of Z Racing. Like on every course, there's a certain section that would be the classic Leroy Jenkins move. And we need people to take it on and be our Jenkins every week now.
You really do. It's like yeast in bread. It's a critical part of it. It doesn't make the whole thing, but so yeah, who's going to be our Leroy Jenkins?
Critical part of Z Racing now. World of Warcraft memes now are a critical part of Z Racing. Just so you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that if you're, let's say your 15-second power is at a really impressive 13 watts per kilo, I think the Leroy Jenkins move is attacking it at 12.5 watts per kilo for 35 seconds going into the SEs.
There you go. That is actually, that would actually be perfect, because, in like a 0.99999% chance to win that and do it, but it's most likely no go.
Because there is a 1 in 800 trillion chance that every other rider's internet shuts out at that moment globally, but yours survives. Right?
Leroy, RT's letting us know, Leroy over the volcano, 10 watts per kilogram from the bottom. There it is. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that one.
He's an expert.
Yeah, he is the expert. RT's the expert on the Leroy move, because from right here, 10 watts per kilogram, and Leroy, just go, like all in from there. 10 watts per kilogram from the bottom.
These guys, Nathan, are too sophisticated to take that bait. No doubt about it. I have a feeling a couple of years ago we would have seen someone just go all in on it, but good for them. They're racing for legit purposes, and the tempo now, you can see that power-ups galore here as we roll through Volcano. And yeah, that KK is not that's Kirkfield that we're talking about. I
not Krista Kolczynski. She hasn't made the
no, she hasn't shifted over the Dragons. I think she's pretty happy with her VR setup. She's become one of the
Wait, does she have a VR setup? Wait. Really?
VBR, Virginia Blue Ridge.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's the shorthand now out on the race circuit, right?
I thought you said VR. I thought you said VR.
Yeah.
I was like, Kristen got a VR setup? Wait, what?
She probably does. She's hip, man.
I think she did get a new Zwifting setup from what I saw, though. It looked like to me. It looked like she's got some sort of new screen setup I haven't seen before for being able to kind of have more data points, it looked like, and more views of what's happening in a race, which was pretty cool to see. So, well, all right, back in with this
She's
race
been an archetype. Yep.
Here
we go.
40 riders. I think this is going to be a sprint. I mean, well, you could have the 1K or the Leroy. I mean, from here on out, it could happen. I mean, come on.
Well, it could. A lot of things could happen, Nathan, as we've seen out here. And I'm going to guess, though, that it becomes really, if you can't script a finale in a race on Zwift. But one thing that you typically see is diametrically opposed viewpoints on how this is going to end. And that always makes for thrilling racing. And you're right. Someone's going to attack out of this group. But with guys like John Verm out here, you're going to see a legitimate finish. There's such a high quality in this group. So, and Nathan, I think that they've braced themselves for exactly that. What should be a devastating sprint. Being on the front right now, sub-ideal.
Yeah, AMM, he's kind of just playing this lead-out train, man. 6.1 watts per kilogram all day. I mean, essentially, who would he be comparable to in the pro Peloton as far as just somebody who goes to the front for the last 2-3 kilometers of the race to set up the sprinters? Like, who do you got in your mind as far as that goes?
Well, it's really interesting, Nathan, because the standard back in the day of like the Mario Cipolinis or the Alessandro Patakis, they would have 7 riders who were designated, breaking it down like a baseball team, like a leadoff hitter and a cleanup hitter. And everybody, I mean, they even had riders who would sweep the wheel behind the sprinter. Nowadays in racing, you're lucky to, if you think of someone like Mark Cavendish, you don't have a lead out train like that. You have one guy who moves you around. It's Morkov in that case, right?
Morkov, yep. Good call.
And so that's who I would think of, to tell you the truth. But
we got one. We got a taker. We got a biter. Yeah. We got a biter, Dave. Mateer's making it happen. I love it. It's going to be the Frenchman. AMM's right on it with you. Entering the S's. You called it, Dave. Okay,
can we get a Jenkins?
They're going like really early.
They went full Jenkins, and there it is. That's your Leroy Jenkins, and we've got a hero. We have identified our hero right now as we're going now into the final 2K. The penultimate kilometer of racing has begun, and it has gone absolutely bananas now.
Yeah, totally bananas. It's going to be Turner now from Giant CC now coming across. It looks like in the blue kit, spinning to win. It looks like up at 100. What is that RPM? 120 for a moment there. Buchowicki now out of Poland now going across. It looks like, I don't think I got that name at all, but I gave it a go. And now the Polish rider comes across. It's all back together, it looks like here, but a little bit sprung out. Locks to the front now as we hit this final little couple kicks.
Buchowicki there on the front, Nathan. I got to say, we have reports of riders with cadences anywhere from 45 to 140 right now. This is the wild, wild west, no doubt about it. Can you believe that?
Mutant to the front. No, I can actually. I've seen it all. Yeah. I've seen it all in Zwift racing.
Yeah.
Jay Young here from the Mutants, 10.6 now over the top. But here, going this early, it's a big risk here. If he can only do 10.6 all the way to the line, well, it's not going to be quite enough. And I say only, but they're right on the wheels and they're playing it super smart. Bauer, ESRT have played this so intelligently here. Who's in the donuts kit? Loving to see that. Is that going to be the KST rider? Heibel, where's the kick though? The first first one to go at the bottom's most likely going to get it. Here comes Mouchon. Okay, here the Dragons now to the front, but it's going to be the Donuts. Is Donuts going to get it? Come on, Donuts to the line. I got to see it, but no, it's going to be ESRT. ESRT coming through. John Verm. Oh, Verm gets Podsy right at the line. Great racing today. And that is the ZwiftCraft. It don't matter sometimes how much power you've got. Sometimes it's just about knowing how to race your bike on Zwift. And you saw the best ZwiftCraft from Podsy and Verm right there with the timing. They were trying to brute force that, but this is not a sprint that you can brute force, is it, Dave?
Oh, absolutely, Nathan. That is exactly what we were talking about earlier about how ZwiftCraft, ultimately, when it's so competitive out there on a day like today, it's the guys who really, really know what they're doing. Such an impressive finale. Oh, Nathan, I had such a great day in it's actually Windsor, California, where we were with, did you see I was staying right next to Keegan Swenson in the hotel?
Really?
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, you're right, though. Let's call the action way more important. Right,
what is going on with this guy? This is Z to TDF 2026, and he may be proving exactly that. Another Leroy goes. Toby from Zwift Club. Now, we saw him up at the 10 watts per kilogram. Both of these riders pulling off the jump into the Dragons here, and they're going to – I think they've got it. I think these guys got it, though, this time.
Okay, you got to watch how – I'm not sure, Nathan. It's still where it's going to be touch and go. No question. You can't write the big name on the big check yet, but we're getting there. Toby all in, and he's throwing more at it. I mean, wow, you don't bury yourself any deeper than this guy does.
They've got to really step it up now, though. You see the orange numbers coming here. They're going to have so much speed coming over the top right here. I mean, this is massive. 30 at 55. Dave, 55. I don't think they're going to be able to hold off this pack now. It's going to be a Moss. Here comes Manalo. Nice little kick from him, but he's got to kick now. They've got to go. Are they going to go? Is it going to be enough? Grant Molmek, 12 watts per kilogram. Here comes the Drop Me With You. Look at this. The timing. It's all about the timing. The Vikings are going to go 1-2 at the line. They've got the speed. It's going to be Torgensen, followed up by Fosed. The Vikings make it happen. Look at that. Again, Dave, ZwiftCraft tells it all.
Man, that's so, I think that's really the takeaway today, Nathan, is that at this point in esports racing here on Zwift, it's become so sophisticated that it's funny that the term brute force came up today, because that is the worst technique possible to try to win with these guys. It's like Tai Chi. They'll see what you're doing, and they'll absolutely use it against you.
Yeah, 100%. It's a good call there, Dave. And, the brute force, it's just not going to work on a course like this, at least with the finishing straight. Depending on how motivated that pack is. Yeah, well, that's true. That is definitely true. Right. I mean, you can just go from the get-go on up to Zwift, and if you've got it, you've got it. But
yeah,
on this course, Dave, that final lead-in, the roller coaster nature of it, if the pack is motivated to chase you back down and they're willing to make those kicks, it doesn't really, you could get up to that. He could have actually had way more space even than that. And I think he could have had up to 6 seconds still at that and still got caught. They caught him and they came by and had, I think, 100 meters, 200 meters still to race it out. I mean, there was plenty to work with there still.
It's one of the most surprising things when you get into bike racing, how hard it is to hold on to a 5-second gap with 1K to go. When you just look at it, you're like, wow, he's like a football field ahead of him right now. And it's like, yeah, that's not enough. Believe me.
Making me feel better about holding the front yesterday with me and Gabby's ride. As I got done and was like, man, that was one of the hardest rides I ever had. And she's like, what are you talking about? That was like zone 2 the whole time. I was like, okay, jeez, girl. But there was major headwind in Wisconsin. So that's my excuse today.
Well, I would just say about your wife that some people are just built different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's jump back into the racing here. We don't want to be too distracted here. As Dutton now.
Yeah. So they're going to sprint. This is going to be
kick on.
A sprint proper.
They're into the SEs. They've got about 1.5K to go here, Dave.
Nathan, I don't think that this group sees a Leroy Jenkins move. They've watched it play out unsuccessfully for previous Leroys, and I think these guys are ready to just throw down a proper throwdown. Who's the real wattage cottage out here? Can Gru pull it off, Nathan?
It would be so good if Gru had a good one here. Really,
This is Paul Smith's group, right?
It is, but where is Smith? Is he here today? If he's here, I wouldn't go past him. He is such a good sprinter, and he's very tactically in tune. I mean, really. Now,
he shows up.
Go here.
He's the
Netherlands here, making a move off the front. McBride trying to follow it up. That's going to be.
There it goes.
Yeah, Team Netherlands here.
Ignite.
Norland.
Yeah,
Norlander.
No, this went. I wouldn't call this a Leroy Jenkins. I'd call this a strategic attack that was thought out, planned, and now being executed in front of our eyes. So right here, right now, can Norlander pull it off, Nathan?
I think,
boy.
Yeah,
after what is smart,
this is smart. Yeah. He's not going to get caught. The reason why is the way he did it. The way he did it gained enough speed because those other riders, the attacks from early out, they didn't come over the top with the speed. Because of that, they do not go to the line with the speed, and that is exactly why he's going to take it down. It's all about over the top of that Essies. It's going to be right at the line there. Thomason just gets SZR there with Lehagen in third place. But you can see the difference there, Dave. Talk about a huge difference when it comes to how you tactically play out that final kilometer, though even 2 kilometers. If you attack into the Essies, but then you've got nothing over the top of that final little punch heading into the sprint, you can't gain the speed that's needed. But if you kick over the top, you can quickly get into 60 kilometers per hour and roll right on through onto the bridge.
Sophisticated Zwifter realizes that was, as I said, that was no Leroy Jenkins. That was absolutely perfect there. Really small window to pull that off, Nathan, because you got to have 2 things. You got to be able to accelerate to get them. Also, you need them to look at each other for a moment to let that gap go out just enough, and then the scale tips on his favor. So there you go. Great finish. And with the D's now, same scenario, picking them up with just at 2K to go.
Who's the guy with
Small
the
group,
YouTube in his name? That's what I want to know. I always like to see the personal journeys that we see in these riders, and it looks like it's going to be quarter-ton activities on YouTube. Is that going to be our buddy? Is that going to be our B Diddy buddy? Is that who that's going to be? I wonder. I bet you that may
Nathan,
be.
I got to shout out one of the Zwifters that joined us for ZRL races going back to 2021. She raced in the Pacific group and was an outstanding racer when we met her. She was a rower up in Canada at University of British Columbia. Had never raced bikes before. She got on Zwift during pandemic. We actually went out and did a feature with her back in 2021, June of 2021. She lives in Bellevue, right next to Seattle there. And she just won Redlands. Nathan, Nadia Gantova, outright overall winner of Redlands. Started with us in ZRL on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock. Kate Bates, yourself, would do the coverage. We had a really fun time, always had a fun time with Kate, and we invented that term, put that term, the Gantova situation. Well, the whole world just got Gantova situation this week, and I'm super stoked that she was with us on Zwift to start her career. I'm really proud of that. I have no reason to be proud, but I am.
No, it's good. It's really good. It does relate to the personal stories that we do see.
That's why I brought that up.
Yeah, it's a good call out. Now, I mean, 900 watts, but at quarter ton, there is a reality that if you do weigh a quarter ton, you probably could put out.
You make a lot more watts.
500. You do put out, but 900, but doing 5 watts per kilogram. I mean, it'd be interesting. This is the one place where we might be able to see what the reality of some of these things are, because I don't know if there's a whole lot of places in the world where these kinds of numbers and realities data of the human body has been actually looked at.
How about
how
that?
It can play out.
How about that concept? An elite 250-pound cyclist, right? I mean, because that's what you've got. And I think that's cool. I really do. Like this was a huge effort. I know a lot of 120-pound people who can't make.
Right to the line quickly here, Dave. It's going to be Adi. Adi's going to get a better sliver.
Solid.
Yeah, good ride.
So that's going to be second and third Yep,
Yeah,
watching. But Nathan, I know a lot of fit athletes, bikes who weigh 140 pounds who can't make 5 watts per kilo for 2 minutes. You know what I mean? That's a pretty big deal to do that. And at 250 pounds, that's not an out of shape person.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And well, there's a call out here. If whether or not
I don't know if he really weighs a quarter ton, but
I think. Well, I think he. I don't know. We've had him have a conversation with us a little bit here and there,
well,
and let us know that
I think
like
a quarter
and he
ton is
actually has,
500 pounds. Which
yeah, maybe not.
is
No, you're
probably-
right. Yeah, but
Right.
he's actually been documenting some of his journey to fitness over on YouTube, so you can definitely
Interesting.
check it out if you wanted to.
I will.
And I like it that he's sharing that journey and that he's jumping in with the racing with us for sure. Now, let's
Nathan,
go
some
ahead.
of the coolest folks that we've met have been in those D's, C's. It makes no difference what level you race at. Everyone has their story. We're here for it without any doubt. So let us know, for please. But I'm sorry to jump on you there, Nathan.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick look at how this played out in the A category in this final sprint. As you can see, the early move got caught onto the downhill here. Kirkfield went early, as well as how did you pronounce that Polish name? You did a great job of that.
I need to
Buchowicki?
read it again. Let's see it. While I had a couple seconds to look at it and think about it, which makes it a lot easier.
Well, it was Maishont there, as well as
You just had it thrown right in front of you.
Yeah, Kirkfield, and then it's going to be Flores there next coming through, holding the wheel. But look at Podzeline coming through with the speed, and that was from way back, beyond 10th place, I think. But he kicked at the back of the bridge from the middle of the pack, and with
Watch
a ton
Verm,
of
too.
speed. Verm there, and they were right to the line, neck and neck, weren't they?
Yeah, and this is where back-end API will tell us. Nathan has results queued up for us. Podzeline there has become another stars of our racing on Mondays. People really, really dig his efforts, and that was a good finish. Wow.
Yeah, it's a close one there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results then, and it is going to be Jean Verm getting Podzy at the line. Turner there for third.
Nathan, I'm going to have to
Let me see if I can give you a little better quality without wrecking your connection.
Oh,
Does
there you
that
go.
look a little better?
That works.
All right.
That does. Thanks a lot. So, yeah. So, as Nathan said, ESRT router John Verm. And this is not on Nathan. I have a terrible connection here in Oregon. So, I really apologize today, Nathan. Michael Podzeline in second with Scott Turner for third. It's Brian O'Brien. These are all very familiar names. Brian O'Brien up in fourth today. KK Kirkfield for the dress fifth. Jan Bauer, sixth today. Carlos, the Chilean Condor. Shout out to you, Carlos, seventh today. It's Arba in eighth. Radek Buchowicki in ninth. And Nils Moischont finishing 10th today. We like to do the top 30 because we appreciate everybody who races with us. Nice to see Carthy there in 11th. James Young for 12th. Lars Lowe for 13th. He animated things early for sure today. It's going to be Ruben de Miguel de Lucas in 14th. Duell is our 15th place finisher. Peter Helen, 16th. Nicholas Fournier, 17th. Rolf Trovato, he's 18th. Robin Molnar is 19th. Then Milan Kohoitek there, 20th today. Nathan will turn the page, and we can give H squared, Henrik Heibel today. Good job. KST router in 21st. It's going to be Broberg for 22nd. EP for 23rd. Montes Satkus for 24th. Nick Che 25th. Reno Pinen in 26th. Dyson 27th. Stein Martins 48th. Martin Nim 29th. And ARMM in 30th. I had a hard time reading that one when I had the low res, so that's now ARMM in my memory. Top 30 finish for our A's today here and lap it up as we enjoyed some time out on the Seaside Sprint course. So, Nathan, it looks like you found the B's finish here.
Yeah, it is going to be Manalo trying to make some move, but Grant Womack here coming right on through with a ton of speed. I thought Womack was going to take it down. It was the chase down of Toby who made that early move with about a K or so to go, but he was caught at the line by the two Vikings, and the Vikings able to take down that 1-2. Behind them, the Dragons just holding on for third, but that was some serious Zwiftcraft that we saw again with a late attack being caught at the line, B category playing out very similar to what we saw in the A's just a moment ago. So as you can see, lessons being learned, that's for sure, about how to take on this specific sprint as the Vikings go 1-2.
All right, they sure do. So it's a real raid out there as Inga Torgson taking the win. Togerson, I should say, taking the win. Meres close for a second. I love that. May the draft be with you as well. So nice job, guys. It's going to be Biaxt up there for third today. Joachim for fourth. Christian Mogensen in fifth. Dan Manalo. So, Dan, it was great seeing you and Jeff there in California. Jason Jacoby for seventh. A. Moss in eighth. Andreas Sommer in ninth today. And Grant Womack in 10th. This was a strong group that really had at it with Andreas Gerso in 11th, Mark Baker for 12th, Toby up there in 13th. It's going to be Rajon in 14th, Nick Hanley 15th today. John Bamberg found 16th, Mike Johnson for 17th, Argoyo in 18th. It's going to be Richard Werm in 19th, and Dirk Geisler found the top 20. As promised, top 30 will be delivered again here on ZCL with Rafael Cooper in 21st. That's spooky. Reacher, Nathan, 22nd. Jorgen Vick in 23rd. Matthew Gogan for 24th. It's going to be N. Gray, 25th. Jan Lindqvist, 26th. Vemond Gringskar, 27th. Captain Crit for the Sisu team at 28th. Nikita Umov, 29th. And then Tove Vesterlund taking 30th. That's our B's top 30 today. Next up will be C's, and I bet you Nathan's already got it going for us, or he will, I'd imagine that C's finish was
interesting. I got to reverse it here a little bit. It was a little more difficult for me to find, but Norlander, he went up over the top. We're doing a quick little reverse of it so we can get the replay going. But I really want to highlight this one, actually, so we'll put a little bit of time into this because the way he made this move, why a lot of times the questions may be there. Why did this move work versus not the other moves that were made? And I can't highlight this enough. The reason, watch where he goes from. Keep an eye on that Netherlands. Now I'll see if we can. We're going to see where now there he is there. And when he's leaving the pack, there's the reverse there. Where does he end up and when does he go? He's about in the middle of the pack right here. Okay. So, from the middle of the pack, he's driving forward with free speed right here. And you can see, uses the feather power up right now. There's the kick. And the moment it goes uphill, and he's carrying speed into the uphill, he's up into 12 watts per kilogram or so. I mean, even more than that. And he carries as much speed as he possibly can from the apex of the downhill into the uphill, right? So he's already at 50 kilometers per hour when it hits 0% gradient. And he's still accelerating into the downhill. He hits 57, 56, 58 here into this section. And because of the way he did that carrying speed through, that's why he's able to get the better of them. In those other sprints, the problem is that they attack from way out. They don't have that kind of speed over the top. They're just doing what they can to hold on to their gap, not speed through here. They come on like a freight train through this section at about 70 kilometers per hour in a lot of these races. So because of that, you've got to have a massive speed difference. You can't have that speed differentiation. You got to get your gap at the right time. That's the main point there. And as you can see, it looks like the rider for Bont, it was Norlander, teaming out, taking it down there pretty easily, Dave. And it looks like, Dave, you still with me here? Just double checking.
Threw it to me. Perfect. timing. That's Michael Norlander there on the top step of the podium today, with Christian on Thompson taking second for silver and bronze medal being handed out to Anders Ligon. So that was your top three here. Again, look at our C's now after a very brave and well-timed attack. Nathan, you broke that quickly, but that's what Zwiftcraft is all about. So, Michael, you are the Zwiftcrafter of the day out here. So, Andy Mudge taking fourth, Kevin Osborne up there for fifth, Thomas Fisher in sixth, Sean Farron for seventh, Neil McBride in eighth. Drew got up there, top 10 ride in ninth. And then it's Craig Harper, the Rhino, in there for 10th as we look at our C's after 3 laps on Seaside Sprint. All part of Lap It Up here, which is our month-long series on Mondays. It was Event Olav Jakobsen for 11th, Christoph E. Zapata, Foudre rider there in 12th, Patrick Winder for 13th, Marcel Koons for 14th, Jan Oistlin for 15th. That's Alex Martins there for 16th today, 17th going to Jerome Breinart. 18th is Tony Paiccio. 19th today, Pete Watkins dub. And then 20th was Tom Berg. These are C's that we're looking at our top 30 with Rambo in at 21st, Adam Brooks for 22nd, Bath Salts, good to see you, bud. 23rd, it's Peter Backlund, 24th, Tim Dickman, 25th. Michael Richards was 26th today with Cy Carter in at 27th, Chad Quadhammer in at 28th, Martin in 29th, and then Christian Brook rounds out your top 30 for the always competitive C's. Let's take a look at the D's now as we have a chance to. I love the fact that we look at all of our categories, Nathan. It's something that you've integrated that has been very nice to see. And this is going to be our finish here with the quarter ton attack. Had some serious weight behind it.
That's for sure. And then behind it was going to be Team Moore battling it out with M. Ade. Now it's going to be Ade now taking it down for NZC Sliva, trying to come through to get the win. Can't do it this week. One of the well-known D category riders. Then right behind him is going to be Moore, followed up by AV from Coalition, D Harrison, and then the Lion King is there. I love this. It's going to be Lloyd rounding out somewhere around the top 5 to 6 riders. So some of our well-known riders here hanging out with us on the day. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results as they played out for the D categories. It was Ty Diddy at the top.
Nathan, I've never met Lloyd, but I'm 100% convinced he's an awesome person. So, all right, it's as Nathan said, Ty Diddy Sr. up there on top with a well-timed attack. Fun to watch out there. It's going to be Micah Day in for second. Peter Sliva again on the podium. Peter, great job. Third place today. Toby Moore for fourth. Alistair V in fifth. Dominic Harrison for sixth. There he is. Lloyd, the Lion King in seventh. Andreas Schmitz in eighth. Kevin Old for ninth. And then Mark Stevens of the Herd team up there in 10th. So that's the first page. The next page will show us our 11th place finishers, Hans Bjorling with Paul W. in 12th, 13th for Mads Pedersen, 14th for Joel Teft, 15th for Sheldon Mayer, Christian Skrablkev in 16th, 17th for Jarno Timmer, 18th is David Hill, 19th for Stephen Guilford, and Ole Anderson in at 20th. I'm going to guess, Nathan, that Mads Pedersen is a somewhat common name in Denmark.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
I would think so.
Right.
I would think so.
It's not like they're left, right, and center, but you probably have. If Denmark is 10 million people, I bet you there's a good 2,000 Mads Pedersens kicking around. All right.
We've had a few of them for sure. Even in the A categories back in the day, we had a Mads Pedersen. I'm absolutely positive is not the Mads Pedersen from Little Trek, but
right, exactly. Always fun to just see that kind of thing. David Fingland up there of the Seahorses Seatars team, which is the first I've seen that. I'll have to look into that a little deeper. 21st today for David. These are D's that we're looking at. Paul Lutman in for 22nd. Peter Lundqvist for 23rd. C.E. Sherb in for 24th. Gary Lacey in 25th. Sam Booker in 26th. Chuyen 27th. Thomas Weber for 28th. Richard Gee for 29th. And then it's Cy Gordy Hall. Gordy Hall was a very well-known hockey player. Nathan, I'm sure some folks aren't aware of that if they're not in the States or following that. But,
really?
Hey, I want to apologize for connection issues.
I should know that. Dang, how do I not? That's before my, I played a lot of hockey. I played a lot of hockey, but that definitely name wasn't familiar to
He played
me.
in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were his
Gotcha.
his time,
And I was a late 80s, 90s kid, so when I was playing hockey.
Right.
So, well,
more
wrap it
my
up.
wheelhouse.
It's been good. Everybody, if you want to take on the Stage 3 Lap It Up, it's available all week. We open it up on Mondays. Usually this is the first go and a lot of times the fastest, but if you can get a crew together to race it and try and take on those times, you can be a part of the GC contention throughout the entirety of the month for the Lap It Up series. This is Stage 3. There are no makeups on it or anything, so every month, Zwift, if you didn't know, does put on a series of races that start with Stage 1 all the way through Stage 4 or Stage 5 with GC contention every single week. For the entirety of the week for the stage, you can then take on that course for essentially every hour throughout the entirety of that week and try and set a better and better time if you got the legs for it or the bodies for it to jump out there and try and get those fast times. A lot of times this Monday crew around this noon, 1 p.m., 11 Central EST Mountain Time, this time tends to be when you get the most riders. And Dave, the most riders tends toward the most amount of manpower to really make it happen, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, Nathan. There's no denying that. Definitely, the broadcast doesn't hurt. There's a little bit of extra energy being injected into the pelotons. And to be honest, we have a great time. I mean, Mondays have become an absolute blast. So, and want to give a shout out to the chat today for keeping it pretty cool, I must say. That was one of our best days on chat in a long time, I noticed.
Now,
so,
one thing I got to notice here real quickly. Now, there's not an update yet. So, the current leader is Wirimu Kahu out of New Zealand at a 1:23.35. I have a feeling that may get smashed here because these times are so kind of all over the place from what I'm seeing here. When this does get updated, if you head over to ZwiftPower.com and you click on leagues, there's a hashtag Lap It Up, and you're able to see what the GC is at that point. So definitely go check that out in the next 24 hours. You'll be able to see where everybody's standing for the current situation for this. So that's going to be it for us for today. Tomorrow, it's team time trial day for the ZRL. Now, just a heads up, everybody. Next week, Z Racing, we tried as best as we could to be available, but I am actually not available. If I'm not available, there is no Zwift Community Live broadcast at this point. So there will be no Z Racing. This will be the first one, I think, since last September when we first started this. So this will be our first week off.
I have no idea.
Racing. Yeah.
What am I going to do with myself?
I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know what anybody's going to do.
Yeah.
Like somebody take over. Somebody take over for next week. Let me know. We'll promote your streams if they are out there, actually. So if there is anybody who is streaming it, you got a quality stream. We do have a certain, not that I'm going to let you stream on ZCL, but just that if there is a quality stream,
we'll go to your Twitch.
A few of them, let us know, and we'll promote that out there to go and check out the community streams. But no go next week, as once in a while I do leave my house, so I'll be traveling. So apologies on that, everybody, but it is what it is. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow for Zwift Racing League for the TTT, and then Wednesday for the wrap. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit those follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Dave, where are you off to next? Are you still traveling? Like, is there some more stuff happening?
Well, I'm going to be in Oregon for a couple days, and then my next event is Belgian Waffle Ride in San Diego coming up in April here. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah. The season is just really in full effect now. There's races every weekend. If you look at this last weekend, not only was Nadia Gantova winning Redlands here in the States, I'm talking about, because that Amstel Gold finish was incredible with Mariana Vos. And
this past weekend kind of came up out of nowhere, I felt like, as far as like result. And then the mountain bike in Brazil was
Riley Amos and Chris Blevins. Are you hip to unbelievable?
Sevilla Blanc as well, second place. Haley almost, Haley and Sevilla were battling at the front so well. There's an Olympic spot up for grabs too, so they're kind of like back and forth up against Risvids. So the women's race was absolutely awesome on the mountain bike as well. I mean, cycling's just, and I really feel like there is a momentum around cycling now. You know, I almost went to like Twitter rage for a moment, or X rage, whatever you want to call it, again with the coverage right now, because it was difficult to get a hold of some of the replays yesterday, and I'm kind of missing that GCN app just a little bit. So I just want to shout out, come on, Max. If you're gonna buy the rights, really, like, come on, like, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, what I've learned is if you really want to watch the racing that's happening around the world, you have to have 3 different subscriptions. And I'm willing to, because I love the sport so much, I'm more than happy to pay it. But, you know, you've got to have Peacock, which is really inexpensive here in the States. And then also Max, which is, I enjoy Max. There's a lot of great content on Max outside of the cycling too. So I don't feel like I'm wasting any money at all. And then Flow.
I agree with that. I do
well.
agree with that one. I do agree with that
Right.
as far as there's other content that is available. It's just
Flow's the one that's hard to take sometimes.
Because GCN prioritized cycling as its thing. Like, that's it. The library was obvious. Yeah. It was easy to find content, and like it feels like cycling's a side issue.
House.
You know what I mean? It's a side issue to Max. It's like, well, yeah, we'll own this and it'll be around, but it's not like you can find it easily. You know what I mean? And like and the replays are like forever. It took, I don't even know. I wanted to go watch, and like I was like, I'm just gonna watch the highlights on YouTube, whatever, dude. Like, you know, it was really. Anyways, I'm just venting a little bit about like cycling's awesome, and it seems like it's growing, and it's good that a company like Max would be like, hey, this is something we want to get because it seems like this is a growing population. That's a good sign. It just feels like it's a little behind right now, you know. So that's all.
Completely agree. You have to go through sailing and soccer and motorcycle racing, and then you're like, "There's the cycling." Good grief!
Well, it's not,
you know,
you wonder if it's even there.
I wish
too.
it would be.
You wonder if it's there.
I wish
You're
it was
like,
smart enough. I wish it would just know. Hey, Dave loves cycling. Put that first. That's what he wants.
You're exposing my first world problems, kind of a thing. Like, come on, Nathan, grow up and do a little extra searching.
Yeah.
So.
You're a grown man. You'll figure it out, I'm sure.
Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow for ZRL. Go check out those replays, though, of the racing over the weekend. All of it was amazing. Amstel Gold, both the races, the World Cup for mountain bike. I wish there was some cool coverage of the racing that went on this weekend with Levi's Gran Fondo as well. I mean,
me too. Go look at their Insta, though. Go check out their Insta, and you can follow through the day to get a feel for how epic 140 miles with 14,000 feet of climbing in 40-degree weather. It snowed on them up by the geysers. Keegan Swenson was on his derailleur. Nathan, I got the lowdown at the hotel after the race. His derailleur stopped working for a good portion of the race. He had 2 gears, his front derailleur. Small ring, big ring, and he was in his 16 in the back. And for about a half of the race,
he's lucky
he only
he was
had
in the 16. He was lucky he was in.
That's yeah. Oh, it could have slammed. Some systems will send you to one end or the other. Right? You're in your 11 or your safety mode or your crash mode. So ultimately, and then it started working again, and he.
I wonder
ended
if it was from the cold.
Winning.
I wonder.
It's hard to say,
snow,
right? That's bike racing. Bike racing has crazy things. He won 10,000 cold hard cash for that one too. I mean, that's a significant prize in American racing right now. That's more than you would have won at a lot of the biggest races
or any of the. I mean,
by far.
Yeah.
I mean, a Tour California stage didn't pay a third of that. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to Levi's Gran Fondo making it happen as a proper road race. Good to hear it.
Heck, it was a huge moment. So, yeah, like you said, Nathan, it was a great day. There's always going to be good news and bad news on any given day. Let's focus on the good.
All right, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for ZRL. As always, you can hit those follow buttons, subscribe. It does help out the channel a ton, and ride on.